Hello, everyone, and welcome to
Hello.
Cinephilia. We're back. We're back for our special spoilerific
Spoilerific
review
discussion of
discussion of
us.
us. Yeah, it's not really a review; it's more of a discussion. So, catch you guys up. If you guys didn't watch Us yet, this is totally spoiler complete. We did decide, however, after we had our Alita and Captain Marvel thing, that we're gonna try not to do these too often. The whole
Yeah.
super spoilery, because I feel like then it alienates a few people, and we don't really want that. But we're hoping that that every once in a while we're gonna get one.
Yeah.
Like this one, I feel like we can't talk about this one without any spoilers, so we're
Yeah.
gonna do it. So what we're gonna do from now on, futures, when we discuss a movie that had spoilers, we're just literally gonna do the hey, I'm gonna say something, and then
Spoiler for a
say it,
minute or whatever, just
and then
to
turn
go
it
through
off
that.
and
Yeah.
then go back. So that way, people who don't want to have things spoiled, they can just turn down the volume for like that 1 minute and then come back.
But for this one today, we're going in depth, so
In
we're
depth.
we're going to be spoiling most of the
whole
episode.
bunch.
So I hope you guys have gone to see it because it's a movie worth seeing and discussing.
And discussing, yeah, and it definitely was you. Some movies I would say like, you know what, it doesn't matter that you know this, but this one, everything that we're gonna talk about, you should know it. So I hope you all watched it. I'm really looking forward to talking everybody to talk. Maybe we'll get a small audience today but that's okay.
We actually have, for the first time, a live audience today.
Member.
We have someone joining us from the opposite couch of us. So hello, audience.
Oh yeah. So please be spoiler friendly in the chat. Didn't get a chance to set up the other chat, so for spoiler stuff, but because we've been at WonderCon this weekend, so it's been really busy. So we're gonna try to set that up to do the separate chat so that you guys can do spoiler. But today, let's keep this chat spoiler free if possible, so we everybody can watch and everybody can enjoy the show today.
Yeah. So if we look a little tired,
Oh, you know what?
What?
We don't have to be spoiler friendly on the chat today because
No, the whole thing is
because the whole
it's
show.
all spoilers.
A spoiler show.
Yeah.
No. In the chat, all spoilers. Just for today. Because the whole show is going to be spoilers, so it doesn't going to matter. So if you're here, you're going to get spoilers.
Yeah. But
just be nice to each other. Do whatever you want in the chat.
We both had panels at WonderCon today.
Yeah.
And have been up very...
Thank you, Bitchy.
I was up very, very early for my panel. My panel was at 10 o'clock in the morning, the very first panel of the day. So...
That's been a tiring WonderCon. I've been running around and I've been exhausted, and it's
been fun.
It's been fun, yeah.
It's been a lot of fun, but it's been work.
And then today we did shot a little video like in the con floor and tried to take pictures of the people, and then we were carrying on like our puppet bags and our backpack and running around. It was just not. It was so tiring. So we're tired, but we're here because we committed.
Here. We're here because we are. I've been wanting to talk about Us since I saw it like 2 weeks ago. So let's do it.
Winston just showed up and says, "Everyone at Perceptive Studio, I sure hope I don't get anything spoiled for me." Well, I'm sorry, my friend.
We gave you fair warning 2 weeks in advance.
Today is full spoilery day, and I'm so sorry for that. Like I said, if you just showed up, but yeah, we need a trolley. We do need a trolley. Today is going to be the super spoilery day, and I'm sorry, but we're going to try not to do these too often, but today is one of those days, and so I'm sorry. So hang out if you want. If not, I totally understand.
If you're worried about the spoilers, we're not getting to them yet. We still have news and trailers to go through yet, so don't.
Winston says I'm just teasing.
Don't leave us yet. Watch us for a little bit.
It's hard to tell tone in robot talk. I think that's what it is. Okay, cool. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna start with some news things. Well, what's in the news? What was the thing you brought up?
WonderCon?
You had one.
Did I?
Oh man, well you already forget.
I don't remember you gave me a list of news items.
Okay. I forgot one of them too, because that was yours. That's the one you said. Now I don't remember what it is. But we're gonna chat a couple things. So one of the things that just happened. Let's start with the sad one, because that was not really movie news, but it's about an actor. It's gossipy. It's not even news. We're gonna get it out of the way. Apparently, Nicolas Cage. And this was in the chat and in the Discord. Apparently, Nicolas Cage just filed for divorce like 4 days after he got married.
I did not even know he had gotten married.
I didn't know he got married either. So
congratulations, and I'm sorry.
Or congratulations, because maybe it's for good reason. I have no idea.
Who knows?
But that's weird. That's kind of sad. Yeah, it was just kind of like, it's kind of sad for like be like a big star and like that's kind of your life. I don't know. Maybe he's fine. I don't know.
What do you mean that's kind of your life?
Like you think that everybody's life, like, or the like famous and rich, they have great lives and stuff. Like,
no.
Something stupid happened, or whether.
I mean, this kind of thing happens to people all the time. We just know about it.
Yeah,
because
but not
it's in the
everybody.
spotlight.
Everybody knows that you're. Yeah, if you were a normal person, probably nobody would find out.
Yeah.
But now everybody knows, and
Except
that's
family members,
and now it's weird. The other news is they finally announced who the voice for Chucky is going to be in the new Child's Play.
Who?
I don't know if you've heard of him though. This is when
we're going to find out. What's the name?
His name is Mark. I think his last name is Hamill.
Really?
Yeah,
Mark Hamill is going to be the voice of Chucky?
Yeah, he's going to be the new voice of Chucky.
I mean, he's a great voice actor, so I'm willing to go with it. I'm just interested to hear his take on it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I love
Is it
Mark.
Gonna be like a little Joker running around chasing after people?
I guess I don't know. I love anything he does.
He can do more than that. That's just the go-to voice that I hear.
Yeah.
So yes, Jose, the Joker is now Chucky.
Yep. So that's gonna be it. So that's gonna be interesting. That's kind of cool.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm actually more excited to see it now. I was a little not excited because I have a feeling we're gonna get way too much CGI Chucky.
Yeah.
And we like the puppets, so that's kind of unfortunate. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. We haven't really seen much of. We haven't actually even shown Chucky movie. We've only seen the doll. We haven't actually seen the movie, so we don't know what it looks like. But I'm excited for the movie kind of a little bit because Aubrey Plaza is in it, and I love her a lot. And now Mark Hamill's the voice, so it might turn out to be. I don't know, passable.
I'm anxious to see what direction they're going with it because the Child's Play movies have all up until this point have been one continuity. They've all been sequels,
yeah,
and followed this possessed doll. So I'm interested to see with a remake, it's going to be a new take. If it's going to be a new take, or if they're going to give us some stuff that we've seen already. I
kind of feel this is a one time I'm free. I'm happy just for them to just start over.
Yeah,
I think that'd be best. I think them trying to. There's been so many of them that I feel like if you're gonna do another one, just start over. Just give us something new because we've already seen a lot of the same.
Yeah. Was the news item that I came up with, was it that depressing movie that I saw recently?
No, okay. I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember
because there was 4 things.
I know there's a movie that I got dragged to see that I'm going to talk about.
Oh yes, that's it. That's okay. That's your thing. Yeah, I forgot about it.
So my friend who was in town for WonderCon said, "While I'm in town, let's go see Dumbo," which you guys have seen my reaction to the trailers for that.
And how was it?
I agreed. I said, since you asked, it's probably the only way that I'm going to go. So I went with them, and it was absolutely horrible. It was a big fat mess, and I do not recommend anyone to go see it.
How was it visually?
Visually, it was okay. Like, there was nothing spectacular about it. Like, the production design was okay. But if you have seen any Tim Burton movie before, just pick one. You've seen it. So it's nothing to go out of your way to check it out. I will say, Reed H. Cooper is asking, was there not a single redeeming factor for it? Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton are good, even when they're phoning it in. They're clearly phoning it in, but they're good actors, so they're entertaining. The best thing about the movie was actually Dumbo himself, surprisingly, because he looks a little creepy. The CG is a little weird, but the best emotion in the movie comes from Dumbo, and specifically from scenes that were lifted from the old movie, because they already worked. So they just, replicated a couple of those scenes, and those were fine because you actually get to feel Dumbo's emotion and you're looking at it from his point of view. The problem with that is that the movie barely ever focuses on Dumbo because we have so many of these side characters that have been created and thrown into it, like we were talking about in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like the kids and all the other human actors. The movie tries to focus more on them, and it's weird. It tries to show you Dumbo's emotions through these other characters, and it doesn't work when Dumbo's right there. It's like Tim Burton didn't trust that Dumbo as a character would be enough for an audience. So he tried to bring in these other actors. And aside from Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton, I'm just gonna say it. The other acting in the movie was horrible. Like it, and I don't blame the actors. I blame Tim Burton, because it's just a stilted feel that Tim Burton movies have now, and the actors just can't come through it. So it's unfortunate.
So when I heard people, there was some of the descriptions that that this was one of Tim Burton's best movies.
Who said that?
It was in the reviews that I read. In a long time, it was one of his best movies. Blah blah.
I would venture to guess that the people who said that were fans of Big Fish.
Okay.
Because it has a Big Fish feel to it,
but it's not in a good way.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
This movie is just doing too much. It's a mess. Tim Burton is on one hand trying to remake Big Fish. It has a Big Fish feel to it. On the other hand, he's trying to give you all the Tim Burton things that you know Tim Burton is, like all his zany style, which is not Big Fish. Big Fish was him pulling away from that. So here he is trying to give you Big Fish, but add all the zaniness of Tim Burton in at the same time. And on top of that, he's trying to put a fantastical story like Dumbo, which is completely unrealistic to begin with, into a realistic world. So all of that is happening at the same time, and none of it connects to each other. So it's just literally a mess. I actually posted a review of the movie, and my review is one line that just says, "Wow, this is a disaster." And I chose those specific words because a character in the movie actually says those words. And when he says it, I was just sitting there like, "Yep, this is a disaster."
Yeah, I got you, hardliner. I turned him up a little bit.
So yeah, I do not recommend Dumbo.
Great. Didn't sound like you were.
You guys knew I wouldn't, but yeah,
I was hoping you'd come back and go, you know what? It wasn't that bad. It wasn't good.
I love it when a movie can prove me wrong. I love it when I go into a movie thinking one way, especially when it's in the positive. I love going into a movie thinking, I'm probably not going to like this, and then coming out and thinking, oh, that was pretty cool, or that was amazing, but this didn't do it. I just can't with Tim Burton anymore.
Yeah, I think he's done. He gave up. I feel like I think Danny said it yesterday. We were at a Hyper RPG meeting, and they said that basically like Tim Burton was pushing for a while. He had like something, he was taking risks for a while, and then once his one type of risk caught on, then he didn't do anything else. He kept taking that same risk, and then it became really old. And so then you can watch a Tim Burton, it's like, yeah, it looks like a Tim Burton film, but like now we're bored.
Another thing to consider with Dumbo is that Tim Burton really wanted to turn his old short film Frankenweenie into a feature film. And so Disney came up with a deal for him that he could make Frankenweenie into a feature film, which is the stop motion movie that ended up happening, if he did 2 more movies for Disney. So he was contracted to do 3 movies. The first of which ended up being the first Alice in Wonderland remake. Then he did Frankenweenie. Yeah. And Dumbo was the last one that he had to finish his contract. So it's almost like he knew that the contract was coming up. Tim Burton has never really, he's vocally been against like remakes and sequels. Yeah. So I feel like he probably just picked something that he could do that was easy, like Dumbo, because it's a circus theme and it's so much of what he is already known for, with clowns and with something like Big Fish. And he picked something easy and was just like, okay, let's do it. Let's just get it over with.
Got his paycheck, finished his contract.
So I really don't feel like Tim Burton enjoyed making this movie. So I don't know why we would enjoy watching it.
Well,
so
there you go.
That's that.
Cool. Next thing in the news, they've released a poster for the Addams Family. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
The Addams Family CG movie. I didn't get a chance to pull it up, so I'm sorry. If you guys want to look that up, or maybe somebody in the chat can send a link to that.
What do you think about those designs on the poster?
I think they're kind of cute, but they feel very much just like every other CG film we've looked. They're cute. I don't really have they're not bad per se. They're not horrible, but I just they're boring. Yeah, they're just very plain.
I was really hoping, since they finally decided to do Addams Family as an animated movie, that they would go more in the style of the original comic art. Yeah, that really creepy, gothy line art. And even in a CG movie, they could have put off something cool. But this is very much, you look at it and you kind of feel like they're going, oh, Hotel Transylvania was popular, so let's
do this.
Let's do something similar to that, because it has a Hotel Transylvania style to it.
I'm gonna wait for like a trailer because I want to see a trailer, see how that's a bit like.
It's got I'm blanking on who they are at the moment, but I remember reading the cast and thinking the cast is great.
Okay.
So I feel like it could still be good.
There's a lot of movies that especially there's a lot of CG kids movies that come out that like you're like, oh, that looks terrible. And you get around there like, okay, that was fun, because I watched Amber sitting right there, by the way.
But she hasn't seen us, so she has her headphones on.
But she said that she watched Hotel Transylvania. She thought it was kind of cute. Like, it was fun. I was like, so there has been a lot of movies that are like not amazing, but they're like cute and they're fine. They're meant for kids. This couldn't turn out to be a cute movie, and it's totally passable. But I don't know.
I do think it's cool that they're doing it animated instead of live action.
Says Chloe Moretz is Wednesday.
Okay.
All right, that's cool. And then Carlina posted the poster on that chat. Thank you. Oh, there's a cast. Charlize Theron.
Yes,
Chloe,
I'm always for
Grace
Charlize
Moretz,
Theron.
Oscar Isaac.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. I saw that. And
so yeah, I'm okay with the cast. So yeah, maybe it'll be good, and maybe the designs work better in motion. That's another thing when you're comparing like a movie poster to the actual movie for animation. It all depends on how it's animated. So it could work. We'll see. I
think that was it for news.
Trailer time.
We have a couple trailers. So okay, trailers. We have a couple. We have a few. Let's power through these a little bit. So there a lot of them are spooky-ish because we're talking about us today.
Yeah.
We have a trailer for Annabelle. I'd never watched an Annabelle movie.
You've never seen any of them?
No, and not really been interested in them.
I have to admit that the Conjuring series, which Annabelle is spun out of, is kind of weak to me.
Yeah.
But I think that Annabelle is the strongest part of the series.
Okay.
So
let's see. I mean, she's creepy. She looks creepy to me.
Everything you see in here is either haunted, cursed, or has been used in some kind of ritualistic practice. Nothing's a toy. It's safer for these things to be in here than out there.
This guy's is all he does now. Horror movies.
I know.
I mean, good for him, can work, but after this is done, he's not gonna get any work and anything else.
Keep any creepy stuff around. We keep it all locked away in a room, so that we're safe. It's not really good for anyone to go in there.
This looks like the basement of April O'Neil. Or April O'Neil's thrift shop.
It's time for us to start getting into, if they want to continue the series, get into some of these other items. Because this is like the monkey. This is the third Annabelle movie now, and there's a room full of haunted items that we could be exploring.
They're all kind of evil-y.
Yeah, these are items that they've taken into their home to protect because they're all haunted and they don't want them.
Dude, so they could totally do a whole series.
Yeah, well, that's the plan, because the Nun is also a part of this franchise. So they're supposed to be doing more, but I mean, 3 Annabelle movies, that's enough.
Reed Cooper goes, oh, that Annabelle.
What did you do? I let her out. Who? Annabelle. I'm sorry. What else?
Yeah, I want to see what the samurai costume does.
Right?
Everything.
The piano who just plays everything in like
Annabelle?
I think you have the wrong house. There's no Annabelle here.
Like in the wrong key. Ooh.
Yes, she is. I sometimes see things. Like how my mom sees things.
The doll. It's a beacon for other spirits.
Somebody tell me who that little girl is.
The Conjuring universe.
Yeah, she was in something else recently. Oh, hi, buddy. Oh. Hey, she didn't freak out. She was like, oh, that's great. That's weird. Nope, still there.
Well, that looked boring.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good trailer. Well,
Jose says the little girl I remember from a Disney show. I don't know which one.
Oh, she in Crash and Bernstein?
Crash and Bernstein.
I've seen it from somewhere else, though, because I didn't watch a lot of Crash. I should have watched more Crash and Bernstein.
You should have watched more?
It was a puppet. Well, it was a puppet.
Oh, I've never even heard of it.
It's the one with the little purple puppet. And like a bunch of people that I know worked on it. Greg Ballora built puppets and worked on it.
That's cool. I never heard of it.
She was the babysitter. She was in something else though. Okay. We have something called The Body at Brighton Rock. I have no idea what this is.
I don't either. I've never heard of it.
But I was like, a body somewhere. Great.
Cold front. Temperature drops overnight.
New to all of us.
Because I'm all about us playing
How nice of you to join us. Remember,
little movies, trailers for movies we haven't seen.
On time.
You take the info booth and I'll take posting signs on Hitchback Ridge.
I mean, you mostly do like kiddie trails, right?
I'm just as qualified as you guys.
Oh, that's it. Porn star. That's not what that's.
I was gonna say that too. I'm like, I'm interested.
No, TOS.
So someone's lost in the woods. Very original story so far.
I'm not gonna lie, this looks like it was shot on a GoPro. A little bit.
It might have been.
Code 030.
Not enjoying the cinematography in this movie. I apologize.
I lost my map on the trail.
Are there any landmarks you can see?
Like, where's that light on her face coming from?
The sun.
Nah, I don't know.
I'm like a park guy. I pick up trash and I hand out pamphlets.
That's how the sun lights up beautiful people.
Stay and secure the area. Is anyone else there?
No, it's just me and him. There's no one else up here. You really need to leave. This is a crime scene.
Thought you said it was an accident.
Maybe not.
When did you say help was coming?
Soon.
Be careful up there. That area has active wildlife warning without an exact
Jose,
location.
also
They're
not
gonna
from
give
Fuller
you
House. That's not
your
where I know her. I know her from somewhere else.
Marshall.
No, I mean the little girl.
Hello?
I'm in a conversation with the chat.
I mean, if this trailer isn't
I'm
keeping your
kinda not
attention, then that's a sign right there.
Oh man, I really hope. I really thought this movie was gonna be better. The maybe it's just a bad trailer. No.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere.
But where's the body? Oh wait, what? What is happening?
You just had an emotional roller coaster. Where's the body? Nobody. Wait, dies alone. Oh, okay.
All right, I can't recommend.
So the most exciting thing about that was perhaps we get to see someone mauled by a bear. That could be fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Riku, this is a made-for-TV movie. It kind of looks like it to me now.
It kind of did.
I saw the thing. It says release. It was being released at some point. It's I was just. Oh man, I'm sorry, guys. Next show we have is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which is based on, like I said, on a teen book.
And I believe that Del Toro is producing this.
And Del Toro is maybe producing this. So. Oh, he said. Winston says the body was at the start of the trailer. I wasn't paying attention. Apparently.
I have scary stories of my own.
Sarah Bellows.
Riku, this is a
Tell me a
brilliant book.
story.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who read this as a kid. I never got to read it myself.
Oh,
Yep.
there we go.
Sarah Bellows' book. When the stories
My cat has decided to wake up from his nap.
Comes alive.
Ew.
You don't read the book.
No toes.
The book reads you.
It's pretty cool. Ew.
I'm afraid I'm gonna die, Dad.
Next.
Good point, Megalo.
Gross.
Ew.
Don't touch it.
Don't pick at it. It won't heal. Call Dr. Pimple Popper.
So I had seen some shots of some of this, some of these creature makeups before they released like a series of images of some of them, and all the makeup effects look really cool in this.
Yeah, I'm interested.
And of course, a lot of it. I mean, there was a few things of CG in there, but I think most of the monsters in this are done practically with makeup and costumes and stuff.
A little bit of CG help. Megalobus is definitely not scary. Did Disney make this movie? Well, I think it's based on a teen book, so it's not. I don't think it's supposed to be super scary. It's supposed to be more.
It'll probably be more atmospheric than like jump out at you, which I'm hoping for because I prefer atmosphere.
They should make a horror movie about college. That they should.
I trust Del Toro enough to go see that.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. Somebody else said something that I want to. Oh yeah, Mega Blazing said, for some reason everything being perfectly lit at night doesn't make things spooky, scary. You're right. There's a few of the shots that are just kind of.
Oh, right. Reed H. Cooper says to me, if you aren't aware of the book, do so as an artist. I definitely know the art of the book. I recognize a lot of the monsters from seeing art of it. But yeah, I've never read it. So I should check it out and read it.
All right, the next trailer. In theory, or hypothesis, I'm excited for the idea of this movie. It's called The Chicano. And it's some like vigilante superhero looking thing. But also it could be really bad. So this is
depends on how it's done, and we're gonna see.
Called El Chicano.
Bad things happen.
He's like a vigilante.
Turns black.
Reed Cooper, the Chicano, yeah, the Chicano.
Bad things happen when the sky turns black.
No, not the volcano in Chicago.
When we were kids, we were told
Chicano,
about the legend.
like as a Hispanic.
Anytime you got hot in the hood,
Mexican American.
Chopper pipes. Gangsters found God out of fear of the devil.
Who was he?
El Chicano.
Are you laughing?
This is ridiculous.
Coming to plant a flag in LA.
Did they have to shoot someone who was hanging in the news?
I've never seen anything like this. It's a war zone.
You knew this was coming.
And what was coming?
Revolution.
Hey,
you got a
Eric
subscription.
Tucker, thanks for the subscription. Much appreciated.
I was being straight with you. I have to tell you, I'm not sure what to do next.
Oh.
Try doing what's good. Now I have to do what's right.
Okay, I'm in.
To become this.
Are you?
I'm in.
It's the only way to protect my city.
What has gotten you in so far at this point?
I'm gonna be doing a lot of this giggling through this whole movie.
Okay.
Because it's kind of cool, but both kind of stupid and silly. And I love me some silly action movies.
Because it's funny, I was thinking one thing, and as soon as I started thinking that, you were like, I'm in. But I was thinking that this kind of feels like a parody of an action movie.
But it's not.
But it's not.
They think they're doing it seriously.
Yeah.
But I could see myself enjoying this. For terrible reasons. Oh my god, he's got a mustache. That's weird. George Lopez, no.
Was that George Lopez?
Yeah,
I didn't even recognize him.
I am neither right nor good. I will make up the difference in blood.
Mega Blazing says, how does this movie fit into the larger MCU, though? El Chicano.
El Chicano, the ghetto Grim Reaper.
The ghetto Grim Reaper. So, okay, there's another kind of like Latin superhero movie, underground movie, because it wasn't that popular, that came out a few years ago, that this is kind of reminded me a lot of, although this looks like it has a much higher budget and production design. But I can't remember the name of that. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It starred Wilmer Valderrama.
Oh no.
You're upset by that already?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the name of it.
Representation of our people.
It was not a very good movie, but it felt kind of like The Crow. Reed H. Cooper just said El Chicano versus The Crow, and that's what I was about to say. This Wilmer Valderrama movie felt like The Crow.
Jose says I'm with Art on this. Yeah, we're down. As a Latinx.
El Muerto.
Oh, El Muerto. I had never heard of this.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Mexican Crow.
And it's got like lots of, on Letterboxd, it has lots of 2 stars, 1.5 stars.
I may not go watch it in the theaters, but I'll definitely watch it on DVD.
I mean, this looks like it might just be direct to DVD.
All right. Last trailer, only because we didn't watch it last week, and I still have not seen it. The Death. It's the dead one, is what that means. So, is the Death. Is that Wilmer Valderrama in that poster?
Yes.
Oh, awful. We didn't get to see...
we had planned last week to watch the trailer for the live action Dora the Explorer movie, but we didn't get a chance to watch it, so we're gonna watch it now.
Because I still haven't seen it.
And I've seen it, but I want to say something about it.
I have opinions.
Me opinions. They actually played this. The only reason I have seen it is because they played it before Dumbo.
Oh, I was gonna say before us.
Not before us.
Exploring is not a game. And you don't look before you leap.
Oh, girl ate it.
I'm okay, Boots.
We're on to something big, Dora.
An ancient city made of gold. Parapata. And your mother and I are gonna prove it.
And me.
I enjoy the cast.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
sweetie, you're not going.
What?
She's cute.
I-
She looks like Dora to me.
She is cute, but I wish they didn't age her up.
Yeah.
I wish that she was still younger.
Sounds like this.
That's true. But I think just for the sake of this little girl off in the wilderness by herself.
Yeah. Well, if it was a different plot, then I would agree with that. But
Skinny and tough.
You are way
as you can see, they're sending her to the city.
Oh.
So
jungle. It's high school.
Yeah, why is... Oh no, it's the New York thing.
exactly. That's what I need to say about it. We don't need Dora in some cityscape.
No, you're just Dora, like Dora Fernandez or whatever your last name is. You're not Dora the Explorer.
Here's the scavenger hunt list. Team up in
They
groups
made
of
Diego
4.
Street, yeah.
Hola, Dora.
Let me go.
You'll help us find.
And also, this is one of those trailers that gives way too much away.
Why is Django Fett pretending to be Hispanic?
All I see is jungle.
Django Fett, you're not Hispanic.
Oh, look. Dora brought a knife on the field trip, everybody.
Come with me if you want to live.
I love him. So he knew the best.
So you're sold on cast, except
Dude, this
except
guy-
Django Fett being Hispanic.
America has not discovered him well
There's no
enough.
need to overreact.
Did you see Overboard?
No,
Wasn't
I
he in
haven't.
that?
I want to see that. Yeah, I want to. Yeah, he's just his humor's so good in Spanish
he
that
knows
it
this
doesn't
one.
translate always well in English. Boots is kind of cute.
I don't.
CG though.
I don't know if this article or this headline at least that I read was true or if it was a satire piece. But
No matter what.
I heard that Danny Trejo is voicing Boots.
Is he?
I don't know if that's true or not, but it would be awesome. I would be down for it. That'd be hilarious.
Not safe.
Yeah, Jose says Danny Trejo is.
He is. That's true. That's cool.
This film is not yet rated.
Yeah, first of all, is Swiper in the movie? Because I need me some Swiper.
He better be. But why are they? Why do they? What is that with this plot already? They take her from the jungle, from her home, send her to the city to go to school, and then she comes back. Like it seems like a whole act that could just be taken out. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, she should just been at home and then went to the jungle. No need to go there and then come back.
Yeah, it seems like too much.
I'm gonna look for it.
I think it looks like
Toro is Swiper.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
I think
See?
it actually
Good
looks. It looks like once it's in the jungle setting, it looks like fun.
I don't hate it. I feel like it's a family movie. It's definitely for kids. I feel like it's gonna be a cute movie.
Yeah.
Swiper's boots don't. I didn't even see boots. I mean, Boots wasn't wearing boots for what I noticed. Was he wearing boots? And if they were tiny because I didn't see them.
Maybe he gets them.
I need them to be gigantic.
Maybe he's also been in the city and he has to find his boots because they took him off of him.
Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna say I'm down for this movie. I don't know if it's gonna be good, but I enjoy the cast. The cast is really good, especially if Danny Trejo is playing Swiper or Boots, and then Benicio del Toro is playing Swiper.
Both of them are awesome.
Dora better be schizophrenic and talking to her map and backpack during the fourth wall.
I hope so.
I hope they play on that and they get her to somehow break fourth wall or make it look like she's like talking to somebody and the camera pulls out and there's somebody in front of her. I hope that they make fun of themselves. If they make fun of themselves, of Dora, I think it'll be really funny.
I still wish that she was younger like she is in the cartoon.
Yeah, a little younger would have been cool, but I think that maybe just is a little hard for justify some of the dangerous things she might be doing.
I think that's what would make it cooler. I mean, even if she was like, because she looks like an older teen, not young teen, but an older teen dressed up like a little kid. But if we had gotten someone like around the age of like the first Spy Kids movie, I think that would have been better.
Okay.
I don't mean like she should be a toddler, but
just a little younger.
Just a little younger.
I see. Yeah. Reed Cooper says she was 15 when they filmed it. Yeah, they should have gotten like a 12-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
Who looked like a 12-year-old. Right. I mean, because some girls look older. Like when Padme, She started filming when she was 14, and like
Natalie Portman.
She obviously in the movie she looks older because they made her up to look older.
Yeah. So that was the last trailer.
Michael Bisping says, "All I know is Scarlett Johansson is pissed that this little twerp stole the role from her."
I'm waiting for them to do a movie with a like a all person of color cast, or like a all Latino cast, and it's just all Scarlett Johansson. I actually think at this point, I would go see that, and it would be funny at this point.
I think she should do something to play that whole thing.
She
up.
should. Like if she were ever to host SNL again, she should totally make fun of herself.
she should try to play.
I'd be up for
characters. It. Oh, that'd be funny. Okay, here we go, you guys. It's time.
Speaking of all the black characters, spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! Beep 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 beep. I did not animate this. I'm just pushing the button on my So, spoiler alert, kids. We're about to talk from here to the rest of the show. It is not a safe spoiler-free zone. Not, we're not gonna. Yeah, it's just.
We're talking. We're talking now. So, what'd you think of us?
As a whole, I liked the movie.
Yes.
I enjoyed the movie. I was happy with my purchase. I was not happy with my seat. My seat was very uncomfortable. It was like this wide.
Oh, because this is the one you tried at the AMC.
And I sat like this. It was really bad. But the movie I liked. It is definitely not. It's not perfect. It's got some issues, I think. But I do think it was a pretty good movie. I think it was even though it missed some of the hits it was trying to make. I think it's still a very intelligent movie. It's intelligently written and thought about. There's so much we go to the movies now when it feels like they showed up on the day and directed things. This one, clearly he wrote the movie and planned out shots, and there was a thought to the way everything was being put together. Whether they succeeded all or not, that was kind of but generally I think it was a pretty good movie. I do enjoy it.
I agree.
Hold on. Bagel Basement says, I like it, but I don't think about the logistics of it too much. I just enjoy like an episode of Twilight Zone. Yeah,
so,
that's kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
As a general, I had fun. I enjoyed the movie.
There are serious problems with it, and it's like I say that I mostly enjoyed it. I think it's a great movie. It's a needed movie. It's a movie that serves a purpose. I think that it could have gone in two different ways that would have made it better. And when I say I mostly enjoyed it, I mean I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars. So that's a big deal. That's not like
this movie didn't suck by any means.
Right.
It just.
But it needed some finessing. There are some things like for me the first and second act are very strong, and once they get into the third act, okay, let's just get into it.
Let's get into it.
When I first saw the trailer for this movie, my assumption was going to be that just based on the trailer, I thought that the meaning behind it would be something along the lines of it exploring this idea that no matter how well off or how respectable or how cool you are as a black person, that there's still this other image that people have of black people within society. And the first act of this movie was that. Like it built up to that with the, each of the 4 tethered people that ended up coming to this family, each had like a different representation for this idea of the stigma and these stereotypes that black people have. Mm-hmm. Like we had the father who was the brute, the daughter who was kind of like her body was kind of used for entertainment because she was like a runner, and she, we got that shot of her like warming up because she's about to run, and it's all about the chase for her, and she also always had like a selfie smile on too. So it's kind of like, okay, so this is the black person who's like the entertainment, and that's all she is. And then we had the son who's like the wild beast, and then we had the mother who was kind of like she kind of felt like she totally wasn't. I'm going to preface this and say she wasn't, because she was very smart and she knew what she was doing, but she kind of came off because of that voice and her mannerisms and stuff as a little uneducated. So these are all stigmas that black people have within society. No matter how well you present yourself, you're still going to have that.
Yeah.
But then we got to a turning point when they're having that conversation, and and she asks, "Who are you?" and her response is, "We're American." And then in the next act, that's like the end of the first act. In the next act, we find out this is not only happening to this one black family or even just black people, but this is happening to everyone.
Yeah.
And then you realize it's not, I mean, there's that subtext that it could be about black, but it's actually about not race related, but more about America. And if you add periods to the title, you get US. Us is the US. So then it was like, okay, so we're dealing with those ideas, but on a grander scheme of the whole country and everyone, and not just about race. And then I loved the idea that it was a horror movie that was centered on black people, but not necessarily centered on their race. Like we love that kind of thing where we just happen to be following the black people while this chaos is ensuing. And I was like, okay, so the second act ratcheted it up for me, and I was enjoying it even more because of all that. And then we get to the third act, and the third act just takes a turn. And that third act is like, it's a little too much. This is no longer making perfect sense, because it was great up until then. And then that third act, I think, tries to pull together these fantastic ideas into something realistic. It's like, you don't need to do that. It could just be, this is a fantastic horror that is not reality based.
Some of the things you could have left up to suspend disbelief and kind of leave it some mystical reason or whatever. But he tried to explain why this thing was happening, but it wasn't successful. Like we was like, somebody was making these people. But like, but who or what? Now you're like, but who or why? Why are they? Where do they come from? And you want to know more. Once you start explaining, you can't just go explain a little bit, not explain. And Miguel pointed out a couple of things. It's like the all the scissors and all the red jumpsuits and like those logistical things. Where you're like, wait, she planned this whole thing, but where did she get all the stuff? Now you're making me ask questions that you're not going to answer.
Yeah, and it's not like okay, let's have this rising up in Santa Cruz where the movie is set, or at least as far as the fairground is set. Let's have this rising up in this one little city. No, this is supposed to be happening across the country. So then it's not even like, where did they get some of these clothes or scissors? It was like, where do we get thousands of these clothes and scissors? Because everyone across the country is having this happen to them. And also, supposedly.
Yeah, why specifically the red jumpsuits and scissors? It was just a little weird. What I think happened, I think he was trying to achieve his allegory and his message, and what his premise of his movie was, that and clarify this, just I don't know if you use the word premise this way, but a lot in like when we talk about film analyzing stuff, we use the word premise not as a plot. I know a lot of people, we use that, it tends to get used interchangeably. So plot is what happens in the story. The premise is usually more like the theme of the story or the lesson. So I think he was concentrated on that he made that his first target. Let me get to the point of my premise and the thing that I want to tell, and not worry so much about the last little strings to wrap up the plot, which I think he just sacrificed. I think he might have gotten to the point where it was like, I don't know exactly how to fix this, so I'm just going to sacrifice it and hope it... There was more work to be done. I don't think he achieved that.
Yeah, I agree that the strongest point of this movie, the point that makes this movie great, is the allegory and the metaphor. The metaphor, yeah. The symbolism of it is incredible. And it's so open to interpretation. Like I was saying, I thought one thing in the first act, I was thinking something else in the second act, and then in the third act, it kind of falls. But it's so open to interpretation. Like you can make it about race, you can make it about class, you can make it about any number of things that we're going through here in America, in the US. But for it to be so open to metaphoric interpretation, he gives way too much exposition, and that kind of contradicts each other. The movie is filled with exposition all throughout. Like we have a whole monologue by Red, who is the villainous character of the movie. We have a whole monologue by her when they first come into the house. Then we have a lot of exposition shown through flashbacks all throughout the movie. And then the whole third act is exposition on top of that. And the more the plot is so bizarre that the more that you try to explain it, the more questions develop, and it kind of becomes like an Inception. Like you just get deeper and deeper into, okay, so what is this? What is this? And if that's that, then how is this working? And I feel like if he had pulled back some of that exposition and just let it be a mystery and just focused on the metaphors and letting the audience interpret how it was coming off, I think the audience is smart enough to understand what's happening without all these specifics. So I wish that he had held back just a little bit. I think that would have made it better if there wasn't quite as much trying to be explained.
Yeah. So, sorry, I was dealing with stuff in the chat. So so let's talk about a couple of things that I thought. Well, let's talk about I brought up the premise and what I thought the movie was about. So my take on the whole movie and what I think he was trying to achieve, his message was trying to achieve, was the whole us part. That I think that in the end, that it was kind of dealing with the whole idea that as America, as that we're currently, the state of the country, what it is right now, we're kind of fighting ourselves. The world country is at itself. We're a divided country, and we're fighting ourselves. It's basically so saying that like we're in this huge fight and this huge turmoil, but we're really just fighting ourselves, which I think is the problem. He's kind of pointing the camera at us and saying, you guys are just fighting yourselves. We need to come together. And I thought some of those metaphors that he uses, like literally the Hands Across America thing, is literally dividing the country in half. And that's what I mean. He had this like group of people who were creating a line down the middle of the country. We had a top and a bottom. We had these two separate parts of the country that was the metaphor for that. And then like the two different people were just this divided country. And that's what I mean, where he was trying to get this message out of this divided country part. So it was like, I need to make this dividing hand thing happen, this line across America, so I can give that. But like, there was no real good reason why it was happening. Because he didn't really describe why. They chose that message, but he didn't really say why. What that was the message. Why we're gonna.
The reason that Hands Across America happened is just because. Okay, I just feel the need to scream spoiler before we say this, even though it's the whole thing, the whole episode is spoiler. But at the end of the movie, we learn, even though if you're
spoilers button is it on?
God damn it, Art! People have been watching all this time thinking that they weren't going to be spoiled.
Because I was on the wrong screen. There you go.
So we're giving all these hints early on in the movie and all throughout that the main character played by Lupita, who is first of all, she's an amazing actress, and I feel so bad that she's going to get Toni Collette this year for award season, because Toni Collette was amazing in Hereditary, but it's a horror movie that award shows, unless they're geared towards horror movies, don't recognize. And that's the same thing that's going to happen to this movie, because she's amazing in it.
Yeah.
But we find out at the end of the movie that when she was younger, she switched with her tether. And this is something that both my boyfriend and I, when we watched it, we picked up on, like at the very beginning of the movie. You kind of like see it coming. It's not that surprising of a twist. At least it wasn't for us. But so getting back to Hands Across America, the reason that it happens is because just before she went off to the fair or the amusement park or whatever, she was watching that commercial at the very, very beginning of the movie. And she also had the shirt on.
Yeah.
So when she got switched, that's kind of all she had with her from, her childhood before the switch. And I guess that festered in her mind. There's a lot of unexplained things in this movie.
Yeah.
And
so plot-wise, there was some things. And this is because he's bad at this. I think he just chose to let go of them because he thought the message was more important than the plots, and he wanted to make sure that message got across.
And granted, I agree that the message is more important than the plot, but I think that it would have worked better if he had
he got to about like 75%. And I wish he just kind of cleared it like 90%. Like, I understand having a little bit of plot holes to make things, but I feel like he could have given us just a little bit more to wrap those, because it was all like loose threads that just need to be wrapped up and explained a little bit better. because the reason this stands out, I think, a lot for us is because so much of the other movie was so good.
Yeah.
And so great that once you got to like that third act, you're like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess they're bad guys, and I guess they're doing that thing, and like, okay.
And I love the idea that he was going for with the third act with the tunnels and everything. But it needed some finessing. Like I look at those tunnels and they're kind of for it to be underground for all this time not being taken care of. They're kind of pristine. There's like who's paying the light bill for that area? Who's cleaning all of it? And then the whole idea with the others, the tethered people who are underneath that are puppeteering the all of us on top of the world. How exactly does that work? Like, who is controlling who? Yeah. Who? Because if they switch, which one of them is now in control? Is it always the person on top that's in control, or always the person on the bottom that's in control? Or is it the person who started out on the bottom that's in control? Because if they switched and she's on top, then why would she not control her other to make sure she never came up? And that kind of thing. So there are a lot of things that I think needed finessing in this. Just there's a lot of questions.
Because you're right. Because I totally didn't. Because what I got was that the top people were basically controlling the bottom people, and they had no choice what they were doing, and that's was part of their anger. That the fact that they had to live their life. Because she says about like, when you had a son, I had a son, and she went through all the stuff as with having kids that she didn't choose, that just happened to her. Yeah. But I was like, yeah, but if she switched, what were the like and because it was a weird thing, was like, is this like supernatural? Is this? But it felt like it was like
he tried to not make it supernatural. He tried to make it put into like, this is a government experimental program. But then didn't. And I feel like it would have worked so much better if it was supernatural. Like a friend of mine online said, what if everyone who came into that fun house, when they looked in the mirror, that's what cloned them, and so there was a supernatural clone underneath. Okay. It's just like, okay, then, and that also covers that it doesn't have to be the entire country. That you could just be starting in this one little area, and then you still have to work to finesse it, but it would make a little more sense. Like there would be, Why would the government? I mean, the government does a lot of stupid things to begin with, but why would the government create all of these puppets, clones, and have them underneath, and then when they decide to end the program, just leave them? Why would they not? Like, I feel like there would be some sort of termination from the government if that was the case, or at least have someone at the entrances, wherever they are, some person working their low minimum wage job, just standing there to make sure no one ever came up. Yeah. Because there's no reason why they should have switched in the first place when she was little. It just up there. It was so easy for her to come up.
Carlina says that would have made the story better to explain the tethers. Yeah, or at least given us a little bit of a clue into it. Mega Business says, I think he agrees. Yeah, I think he needs to iron out some of the details. Like if two people bang and their clones bang, their kids won't necessarily be identical. Yeah. So some of those, because he tried to make it more of like a government, whatever, something was creating these. There was details you're like, I don't understand. Well, had it been some kind of supernatural thing, you can just let go of those ideas. You're like, oh, it's because it is. Yeah. But the fact
he
that
could make up his own rules there.
He tried to root it in reality somehow, in science fiction-y kind of thing, that it didn't really work. But I still enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, so
this is just the little chunk of the parts that we were like didn't enjoy.
That's the chunk of the parts that we didn't enjoy. Let's talk about what we did enjoy, because there's a lot to love about this movie.
Do you have something? Yeah, go ahead.
You go first.
There was two things that I thought that I really liked. Well, this is one of them. This is the first two things. But I loved that we got a black family who just felt like a regular black family. Yes. That it wasn't like, oh, they're black, so they're gonna be doing these things. And obviously there were at some point they were listening to hip hop, which it is kind of like a little bit of things where you assume like, but people do. Like that's not it.
It's a song that not only black people recognize. Yeah, everyone knows that song.
I was so happy to see, like, it just felt like a regular family. Just like a young couple with their kids, and I never felt like, oh, they're trying to make a stereotype out of a black family. It was just a normal family, and I loved that. And on the other side of that, I loved the cartoony white people. And the reason I thought it was the fact that they had these characters who were a cartoon of white people, like the lady with her rosé and the guy who was all weird. I thought that was such a great thing to just drop in there at the beginning of the movie, because it wasn't I don't think it was
you mean the couple before you even meet their tethers?
Yeah, they're friends.
Yeah,
they're friends, because, and I think that was such a good tool, because he dropped it in there to throw you off the scent of what the movie was going about, because he dropped it in there, and as soon as they got there, you're like, oh, this is gonna be like a race thing. We're gonna talk about this way racial. He's gonna compare and he's gonna do something, and that was the reason those people were in there, to throw you off the scent of this thing that was gonna go boom, upside down for you. And I thought that was so smart for him to like actively. He made a choice to throw you off the scent and try to confuse you a little bit of what this movie is about. And it was basically because it only works because he may get out, which had some of those racial things, and he a lot of people were coming, I'm sure, expecting something along those lines. Yeah. And he said, "Look, you're expecting this. I'm going to give you a little bit of it, but then I'm going to toss it out the window." And I thought that was such a cool thing to do.
This is, I think it's impressive that this is his second movie after Get Out, because he's 2 for 2 now. Like he has solidified himself as a filmmaker in horror, but just as like a great filmmaker. Like even with the problems with the story, this is still going to become like a historic movie, as far as like black representation, as far as the ideas that he brings to movies that aren't like, this is not just the stereotypical movie that we always get, the stereotypical horror movie with like jump scares. This is actually got some essence and some weight to it.
Yeah, I don't think there was even any jump scares in this movie that I remember.
No, it's tension that builds up.
Yeah, it's tension that builds up. Yeah, I can't. We'll have to wait for the Blu-ray to answer some of this stuff. But I really, I want to hear what he has to say about this.
My favorite thing about this movie, in addition to the black family thing, because I think that's brilliant that they're just like a regular black family, because this is where Hollywood is going, where we're finally getting nice representation. Like they're just a black fammy. Yeah, and that's all it is. But aside from that, my absolute favorite thing in this movie is the symbolism. Like it's packed. You can find online, all the list of Easter eggs and stuff, and I'm sure there's still a lot of stuff that we haven't even figured out yet. But like all the symbolism, first of all, of duality, because this is us versus our other half, our dark side or whatever. There's just so many double things, like the whole 11/11 that keeps recurring. Someone online pointed out that when they show the Hands Across America commercial, that it goes from the two parts that hold up the I can't think of the name of the bridge in San Francisco. The Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah. The two parts that hold up the Golden Gate Bridge that are like a double on one side, and it goes all the way to the Twin Towers in New York. There's the twins in the movie, the daughters of the white couple. There's just the movie is just packed with, like, everywhere you look, there's something that you could read into and find a metaphor or a symbol for.
Yeah, it's gonna take a couple watchings to get through to find a lot of stuff. This is what I meant by him. He put thought into it.
Yeah, he's seriously planned out a lot of things. Even like on the surface, it doesn't seem like the scissors are important. Like, why randomly just scissors? But then you think of it, scissors are like two parts that are put together to make a whole, and they also symbolize the cutting of tethering of tethers and that kind of thing. So everything. This is why I feel like the movie works better as a metaphor and as symbolism instead of as the literal explanation that he tried to put in. Yeah. Like, I love the movie on a metaphorical level.
And that might have been what he was trying to. Maybe that's the message he was trying to give. I don't know that this is, but that that a message was the important part. That necessarily the plot doesn't. Because sometimes, plot doesn't matter as much as I think categorically agree. The message matters more than the plot. But. And maybe that was something he was trying to show us. I don't know if he put that much thought into it. Where like it's like sometimes you can just worry about what we're trying to tell you, not worry so much about the plot. Because it is true. And I mean, if you go back to watch a lot of, we've become more picky about film, you go watch movies in the past, the plot is always pretty loose.
Yeah.
And so maybe he, because he did go back, he does have in this movie some old things that used to happen in a lot of movies, like the weird twist at the end where you find out that she's been switched. That's a very much like an old style filmmaking where like you throw a twist at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, what does that mean? And it's like, does that mean there's going to be a sequel? No, I think that's just an old...
We don't need a sequel.
It's an old thing where like, just to add a little bit of a button at the end of a movie.
Yeah.
A lot of old movies used to throw in twists. And this is where M. Night Shyamalan, his filmmaking came from. Film style came from. And seeing those old movies that would would do a twist at the very end, and it's mostly just as a form of like a kind of to give you a less emotional thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it meant anything for her.
Well, I think it does mean something, but I'm gonna get to that in a second. I don't think the switch itself means something, but I think that scene where we find out that she switched means something. But first, I want to go back on what you were saying, like maybe he was trying to go metaphorical, and I considered maybe he was trying to go metaphorical, and he was so far into metaphor that producers were like, we need some explanation. And it might have been producers that forced him to
give you something. And that makes sense, and that's why it was loose, because he might have just been willing to leave it alone.
Yeah.
You figure it out. Because that would have been kind of cool, because like, I don't know what's happening, but maybe, is it this, is it that? I would have rather been left with that, and that the producer said, you need to give us something. Which is, they're always wrong. Executives are always wrong. Producers are like half and half. Some really know what they're doing, some don't know what they're doing.
But execs come from a money standpoint more than a creative standpoint, and they make a lot of bad decisions based on that.
I would take a big bet on that he was asked or forced to say, give us some kind of explanation.
So back to that twist moment. I think because like, I don't know, tell us if you were surprised by the twist. I wasn't surprised by the twist at all. So I think what was more important in that scene was because when it's blatantly told to us that there was a twist, the very next shot after that is her driving off with her kid, and her kid is looking at her, and she kind of like smirks at him, like and we don't know if that smirk is supposed to be like, yeah, I'm the evil one, or if it's like everything's cool, like we're gonna be okay. But the kid's reaction to her, a lot of people are taking as, oh, he knows that she's been switched, or that's his realization that his mother might not be who he thinks that she is. And I want to take it a step further, and I think that scene is important because going along with the duality, maybe it's not that the son is noticing that his mother is the other mother, but maybe it's him noticing that his mother is capable of both good and bad, because we've seen her do good things, taking care of him, but he also like came in on when she was killing the other, and he saw her, and she was kind of like, after her kill, she kind of went like, and
he
was kind of like
noticing that
stuff.
Stuff.
So I think maybe it was more that he was noticing that his mother is capable of both good and bad, and going along with that duality, and like it's us fighting us. It's that idea that everyone is capable of good and bad, and that because like I said, I'm reading this movie as metaphor. Like, I enjoy it as metaphor more than exposition. So if I'm looking at it symbolically, then it's like, we're all capable of good and bad. It's about like how we balance it and what we do with it, and that we want to do more good than bad, and that kind of thing. So I think that is a very important scene when we learn about that twist.
That makes sense, because he was the one noticing. He was the one who was only aware of his mom.
Yeah, because he was the only one other than her down in the tunnel. Yeah, when all that was happening.
Megalovision says a lot of people think that her son is also tethered, and he swapped out a few years back. So maybe that was an acknowledgement of like, oh, I get you, we're good. And then I feel like yours makes more sense.
Yeah,
and only because of Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Had it been any other kind of like a bullshitty director, I would have said, maybe it was just
because that's kind of a bullshitty excuse.
But did you think that he was the one who was like, okay, I'm like it was just acknowledgement of his understanding of his mother. It's like, there's something weird about you, but all right, this is who you are. Like, there was, I like that explanation better than to think that, you know.
I read a lot of the theories about the people who think that the son was also tethered, and it's like because he apparently knew a magic trick at one point, and then he spends the whole time not knowing the magic trick anymore, so he might not be himself or something like that. It's kind of far-fetched. It's kind of a stretch. It could be, but I feel it could be, but it's kind of a stretch.
Hardliner says, he says, God, I feel bad I didn't see the symbolism. I just enjoyed the movie for the surface of the movie.
And that's fine.
And that's fine. He goes, he is surprised by things. And that's totally fine. I mean, ultimately, they're a form of entertainment. And the cool thing is that as you keep watching the show and we keep having conversations, hopefully you start picking up some of these things. And because these are things that, for me to see these things, took me a long time of watching movies.
Yeah.
There was one particular film class that I took. I took it 4 times and then was a TA twice. Because we would do the same analytical class, and it was the same. We could cover the same topics, the same curriculum, but we watched different. He applied these things to different movies each semester, so I could take it over and over and over and watch.
It'd be all new.
And this man, he's a screenwriter, and he blew my mind on how much he was able to explain. And so it's taken a lot. It takes a lot of time to kind of start thinking about it. So sometimes it gets hard sometimes to go, wait, what does this mean? And sometimes we think, I mean, we don't really know that this is what just our take on it is. And not every movie is going to give you a full. I feel we can have these conversations about something that Jordan Peele made because he is a person who will write stuff. But if you go watch, I don't know, like some other horrible movie, you might be like, I don't think they were thinking it that much.
Yeah. And there's us is just so packed with this kind of thing. There's still other things that we're not even getting to.
Yeah.
Like there's another thing about he uses a lot of symbolism to show how even when there are problems here in America, that we kind of like go for the spectacle that looks like we're solving a problem even though we're not, which is basically what Hands Across America was. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this big event to raise money, and then most of the money that they raise end up going to people who are working for Hands Across America and not to actual charities and stuff like that. And then there's also, I didn't even catch this when I was watching the movie, but I was reading an article about some of those Easter eggs, and one mentions how the funhouse that she goes into when she's a little girl in the 80s, that funhouse has a very stereotypical Native American facade. Like it's supposed to be like a spirit journey that you're going through in this funhouse, but when it's revisited in modern day, the stereotypical Native American you can see used to be there, but is just kind of slightly covered over to be something more politically correct. Even though the interior has not changed at all. Yeah. But it's like the idea that we as Americans put this false facade on our problems instead of actually dealing with the problem or the root within. And that's a whole nother thing, like going underground. Like those are the roots of the country underground, like literal, that's where roots are. And you have to, there's the whole class struggle of who's underclass and who's, above, like who is well off. Everyone's well off up here, and then all the tethereds underneath are being forced and oppressed, and all of there's so many ways to read this movie that it's brilliant that he was able to pack all this stuff in.
Couple of things I want to go back to touch on. Hardliner said, how do you define exposition?
Like the exposition would be like the parts that try to explain why what is happening is happening.
Yeah, it's the things you have to get out sometimes. It's we need to give these details and we're not going to show you. We're just going to tell you what they are.
Yeah.
Kind of it. If that's what your question was. And then Reed Cooper said, I have not seen the film, but metaphor without concrete explainable fiction bothers me as a concept. The film could be amazing, but I'd be frustrated if I left with a ton of questions.
Reed H. Cooper, I cannot believe you're watching this and you haven't seen the movie.
I thought you were going to give him crap of his opinion. I was like, whoa.
No, I'm not. I don't give people crap of their opinion unless they're crappy opinions. But
I kind of agree with him a little bit, where it can be a little frustrating if you're giving metaphors but I think the metaphors aren't the problem in this movie.
Yeah,
it's the plot is the little problems that it has out of the plot, not necessarily the metaphor. Because I think the metaphors are they're clear. If you get them, you're like, yeah, that's it. You get the metaphors and all that stuff.
I think the concrete in this movie it's got some cracks in it, but it's solid enough that the metaphors are cool.
Yeah, but I do agree how I think this is a better movie, because there are better movies in this because it has some faults. Would give you the metaphor, and you would not notice that it was there unless you were looking for it. Like, you could watch it and have a completely enjoyable movie from beginning to end.
But who was it in the chat that just said that they didn't notice all of that stuff and did enjoy it for that?
That's true. But I mean, maybe it's weird what I was saying. You could have a movie begin to end where the plot and everything works great, and it's just a wonderful movie, and you're like, great. And then the metaphor could stand separately than the plot of the movie. Yeah. And you could see the metaphor and not enjoy the movie, or watch the movie and never enjoy the metaphor, never see the metaphor
and still enjoy it.
Yeah, I think and that's where like this one just missed the mark like this. It was aiming to land here. It just went right underneath it because it didn't wrap up that plot as well as it should have.
So here's a something that I probably read too much into about this movie.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like spiraling off of what everything means and what everything symbolizes. And I was like, I'm really conflicted about this movie because, all this metaphor is good, but that third act, I just can't reconcile. And I was like, was Jordan Peele trying to give me my own duality? Was he trying to say, hey, you like this stuff and you don't like this stuff, and this is the two of you combating each other? That's me reading too much into it, but I thought it was funny.
What if he said that? What if he came out and was like, this is what I was trying to do? But I feel like at a point now you couldn't believe it, because like somebody go up to him and go, hey, I heard people said, and he'd go, yeah, that's it. That's what I was trying to do. He could run with it. He could totally run with it. People would buy it. It'd be great. But yeah, that might be reading it too much. There were, let's talk about some of the visual things that were kind of cool.
Okay.
That I really like. And this might take a watching back to see some of these things. There were like, there was when they're first arriving, I think when they're going to the beach, and they have that guy going into the ambulance, and he's like dead. And then when the little kid tries to go to the bathroom, he sees that guy standing. That was the first tethered person that we saw.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool because at that point you're like, why is this weird guy standing here like with a bloody fan? And you kind of think back at it. It was the tethered guy had just killed his pair or whatever, and that was the guy that were taking in the ambulance dead. And now his version was he had just started that hands. He was like the first one at the beach who had shown up, and it was kind of cool because as you see, you're like, that's weird, and like, who's this weird guy, and what does this mean? And it means nothing at that point. Until you kind of go forward and you go, oh, that's right. That's the guy who was the first guy who was at the thing. And I thought that was kind of cool that they started dropping these things. I had him dropping hints about what was going to happen later.
Yeah.
There was that other moment where I think she's looking for somebody. She's looking for her son before the tethered people show up.
On the beach?
No, in the house. And she like walks through a doorway and she reaches over. She reaches over to her right, I think, on the close-up to turn on the light, and then they cut to the wide and the image is reversed. And there's
a lot of things with more so in the very beginning, especially in the funhouse. There's a lot of things with mirror images.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool because some of them are super subtle, some are a little more thin. But even at that point, you still don't know what's happening, but they're being thrown at you. And if you go back and watch it, you're gonna spot more of those. And I
love the shot that we see with her parents when she's a little girl, and her parents are at the therapist or the psychiatrist. I don't know which. And her dad gets up to have a smoke break, and we see him. It looks like he stands up and walks away from the room and down a hall. And then we see that we're looking in a mirror because he's actually approaching his daughter who's on the other side of the mirror. And kind of like pats her before he leaves out the room. But it's a lot of that trick photography.
Yeah, and let's play with that. And it's cool because like at that point you don't know any of that's happened yet, but like it's a kind of a nice visual way to start kind of cluing you things or kind of like I think it's more for a second watching going, oh, this was kind of what he was trying to throw these things in.
Even going back because you mentioned the ambulance, and the ambulance recurs a couple of times. It's a little ambulance when the kid gets stuck in the door, it's because, or in the closet, it's because his toy ambulance was holding the door open, like as a safety measure. And then at the very end of the movie, it's an ambulance that they're driving away, and they just
that's right.
So there's a lot of like little things that happen throughout this movie that are really cool.
And Hardline says, I know Jordan did a video talking about some of the things people thought about Get Out. Oh, so maybe he'll do one about this. I hope so. I want to see him discuss this a whole bunch.
I would love to.
Because I mean, Get Out was pretty straightforward about what it was. It wasn't
that. Yeah, that's the difference. Like, they're both great movies, but that's the difference between Get Out and Us. Is that Get Out kind of like funneled into a very specific. By the end of the movie, had been a very specific line, and I feel like Us was just the opposite, where it was very specific, and then by the end of the movie, it's just so open that it could be whatever.
Yeah, but I'm definitely curious about what we're gonna keep seeing from him, and we are seeing a lot of horror movies, which is something I keep meaning to bring up. A lot of what happens in, I don't know if this is the worldwide thing, but definitely in American history, is when a country is in troubled times, when the
horror movies,
the general zeitgeist is kind of a down and we're having troubles. That's when horror movies take a pickup.
There's a go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's almost done there. I think it's just a pickup, and that's kind of around the time where somehow we as artists and stuff's going to take solace in horror, use horror to kind of express that troublesome things that are happening in the country.
There's a really good documentary that I love. I've seen it a couple of times now, and I've even written about it. It's called Nightmares in Red, White, and Blue, and it's a documentary about the history of horror, of American horror, but told in the timeline of American politics and how it
cool.
It's a really good documentary. It's called Nightmares in Red, White, and Blue. Oh, that's good. So yeah, check that out if you have not seen it. It's really well done. Quasi says, haven't seen Us, heard it might be good, but Peele saying he won't hire white people turns me off. No offense. Shall we talk about this?
Let's talk about this. I think it's good. I think we should address it.
So something about the term white dudes is just in the air right now, because Brie Larson went through this whole thing because she said white dudes, and now Jordan Peele is going through his white dudes moment. He mentioned that he would not I don't even think I heard him say he wouldn't hire white writers white people. Sorry, I was misreading that. So not white. Jordan Peele said that he would not hire white people he would not cast white people as the leads in his movie.
Leads, he said specifically leads.
As the leads. There will still be white people. Obviously, there are white people in both Get Out and Us. But as the leads, he will not hire white people. And I think that is a great thing. One, we've got how many movies with white leads now? Like I love the idea that Jordan Peele has blatantly come out. I wrote this. I had a discussion about this on Facebook, and I just want to read what I wrote because it was well worded.
I think maybe it's, and again, it's a lot of it has to do with where we are as a country right now.
Yes.
And I think his goal was not to say that white people were bad or anything. It was basically just a description that I think he said, I've seen that movie already.
Yes.
And
he did say
he
that.
wants to make different things. He wants to do things that I think that he could do differently. And I think for him, that was one of the things where he was like, that movie's already happened a million times.
Yes. So specifically what I wrote, I'm just going to read this. I like the fact that he blatantly wants people to know that his intention as a filmmaker is specifically to tell the stories of people of color, validates people of color's experiences as important to the film industry, and validates people of color as audience members, both of which American cinema in general has been slacking on. So there's a specific reason that he does not want whites in his cast as his lead characters, is because he is a director of color who wants to tell the story of people of color. Like it's that simple. And I don't think that's anything that white people should be upset or hurt about, because there are tons of white directors who only tell white stories.
Yeah.
And even if Jordan Peele decides never to cast a white person as lead, it's not gonna, that's such a small portion. Jordan Peele's movies, his own movies, is such a small portion of what we see in the theater that it's not going to negatively affect white people
I think
getting
maybe
roles.
if like
or
a whole like Universal all of a sudden said we're not going to hire white people anymore, that could be more of a like, well, that's you make a lot of movies.
See, I would find that weird.
Yeah, that's weird. You're making a lot of movies, but it's one specific director because of who he is and the things he's trying to make.
Yes.
And I think so.
And he's specifically making horror movies and movies that talk about these experiences because they haven't been talked about on this level before.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of different spaces. I do want to say thank you, Quasi, for bringing that up. I don't want to ever feel that anybody should not voice any opinions.
No, that's why we have the chat for you guys to
I don't want to feel like Quasi
stuff.
is being... No, we're just explaining. We're going to bring it up. But thank you for bringing that up. And anytime anybody has anything that you might think could be a little like, well, I don't know, just say it. And as long as everybody's being nice to each other, we don't care. I think it's great. Because actually you guys have talked about something that I totally forgot about, and it's good that we talked about it.
Yes.
So we can talk about that. So, thank you. What else?
You mentioned the 5 on It song earlier.
Yeah, the 5 on It. Yeah.
I love the music for this is incredible.
So good.
The music is so good, and I love that they take that popular, well-known tune and just like, I mean, because that music is kind of creepy to begin with. It's got that weird kind of rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Those weird tones, but that they just go full out and turn that into like a horror masterpiece. It's so
like
cool.
At the end when the first thing, literally the entire audience laughed because it was like boom, boom. And the place in the classroom, the audience loved it. They were just so excited for it. It was great.
Seeing this movie in a theater too, the entire audience was just so into it. Like I think horror movies are some of the best movies to see in a theater because they really get reactions out of audiences, out of people. And when the whole audience is reacting as a whole together, like when we're all getting it, it's such a great experience. I think that's part of the fun of seeing a movie in a theater as opposed to at home on your TV.
Yeah, some of those movies make that's horror movies. I do think are good ones to watch in the theater because it's nice to see everybody react as a whole.
Yeah,
like I do. That's why I like watching Star Wars movies when they first come out, like first night, because that's where all the nerds and everybody's gonna react the same way because it's something similar. I'm a nerd. But yeah, I think they did a really good job with the music.
The composer is Michael Abels, who is just awesome. He also did the score to Get Out.
Mm-hmm.
So he's great.
So apparently, Bitchy didn't see the movie, but she's here. She said she didn't think she was going to see it. You should still watch it.
I feel like that this is a great movie for everyone to see just because. Yeah. I do not recommend Dumbo. I do recommend Us.
Yeah.
Highly recommend
And
Us.
it's because it's not really that scary. It's not really a scary movie. It's more like
There's some gore.
Yeah. But you're not going to go... it's not like... Yeah, I think you'd be fine. It's more gory, yeah. If you can deal with the gore... And even that's not horrible gore. Like, if you watch something else, you could probably get more... Like, you watch Walking Dead, you're going to get crazier gore.
But this is going to build tension for you. It's not going to be... You're not going to be jumping and screaming.
Yeah, you're not going to jump and screaming.
Yeah,
but nothing's going to jump at you. So if
you might get some chills and get creeped out.
Yeah, because Lupita, when she's doing the
red
she was
character.
creepy. And I did read reports that the girl who plays her daughter, she was very uncomfortable when she was doing those things. She literally creeped her out because Lupita was going method on this, and she was not breaking character.
She's great in both roles.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, can we also talk about there's a whole Twitter thread that I retweeted. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you should go check it out. That's about how Jordan Peele has within 2 movies already just like created what is being called the Peelian horror. Like, we know Lynchian horror, which is or Lynchian movies, which are very, very David Lynch and that whole aesthetic. Jordan Peele has solidified this aesthetic of his own. That is, I mean, it's no one else is doing this.
Yeah.
It's his own work. And the iconography of his movies is black people crying. Like you get and Get Out. I mean, that was the poster, and in Us, the main image that is ingrained in your head is Lupita with this tear coming down her eye, and they're such beautiful shots, but they're so emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's horrific and sympathetic and all of this at the same time, and you just kind of like, I don't know. Jordan Peele is just blowing me away, and I can't wait to see what's next. Actually, I don't have to wait long to see what's next because Twilight Zone premieres Monday.
Oh yeah, Monday.
So we'll see. He's the host and written a lot of it. I don't think he's written every episode, but he has worked really hard on this, I think.
Megala says she got a lot of flack for that voice.
Yes,
it is
I
a
did
little
read
weird.
about that.
It is because it is shocking a little bit. It is a little weird, but I think inside of that, I think it worked really well.
But have you heard about the flack she got?
No, I didn't get
okay, so apparently she modeled the voice after a very specific disability that I cannot remember the name of offhand. And so, disabled Americans, people with this disability, are upset that voice is being associated with a negative character, with a villain.
Okay, I see.
But I don't want to come into hot fire for defending her against the disabled, because I understand that everyone has their opinions and everyone's voices should be heard. But within the context of the movie, once we find out that there has been once we get to that twist at the end and we found out that she was the original her that was switched, that means that her being stuck underground all that time, growing up underground all that time, she probably had damaged vocal cords or something happened, because there was no one else down there for her to talk to. No one else down there talked.
Yeah.
She probably spent a lot of time screaming for help or not talking at all, or something devastating happened to her down there. And so it makes sense that if this is her coming up for the first time and speaking for the first time in like maybe 20-25 years, that she would have vocal problems.
Some vocal, yeah.
She would have some sort of slight or major disability because of that.
Spasmodic
dysphonia is the name of the.
Okay. Yeah, and I can see that how some people would, especially if it's Okay, I can see why that.
So I understand. I understand where they're coming from, and I'm totally like,
I'm not mad at them for being upset, because I get where they would be.
Right, but I think within the context of the movie, and this is me, I'm not a disabled person, so I can't speak for disabled people or tell disabled people how to feel. Like, what you're feeling is valid. For me, within the movie, it makes sense that she would have vocal problems. That her voice would be problematic.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, but outside of that, I thought she did. She made me uncomfortable, so she did a really great job.
Yeah.
And so sorry, I was reading the chat. So yeah, I'm good.
This is a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I think we
even with its flaws, it is.
It's a great movie because it got us to. We had a lot to discuss about it. Yes. And I think that's what makes a good movie.
We've gone over our time.
Yeah. So, by the way, there's no 1:45 tonight, which we'll get to in a second.
No 1:45.
No 1:45 tonight.
So it's fine that we've gone over a bit.
Oh, she got her throat crushed in, like that little doppelganger choked her out. Didn't she choked her? So maybe so some of that.
So yeah, there were things going on. There was a reason why her voice was like that. It wasn't just for just to creep you out. I mean, it did creep people out, but that wasn't the sole purpose of it. There was a reasoning behind it.
Whether or not we got all of it, I'm sure as a specific, like as an actress, she probably had a lot of reasons why she kind of went down that route. And maybe if it wasn't explained in the movie, I think to her and her character, something did happen to her that would get her to that point. Because she is that kind of actor, the actor that would put a lot of thought into it.
One more thing that I want to point out for us gay guys or bisexual or heterosexual women who are into guys, how about Winston Duke's thighs? There's been a lot of talk about Winston Duke having these shorts on in this movie, and people have been enjoying that. So there's another plus for you.
Quasi says we need more disabled hero of horror film like the movie Hush.
Hush is so good. Have you seen Hush? If you guys have watched The Haunting of Hill House, the series that came on Netflix, did you ever watch that?
Mm-mm.
God damn it, Art.
I'm busy life.
The Haunting of Hill House is great. It's the same director who did Hush, and Hush is also great, but it's about a a woman going through a home invasion. It's a home invasion horror movie, but she's deaf and she has to, fight off the home invader.
I didn't see it, but
it's very well done. So thank you for bringing up that movie, Quasi, because that is a good.
And you're
movie.
right. I think we do need, in general, we do need more representation. We spend a lot of time talking about racial representation and stuff, but I do think that disabilities aren't represented well enough or often enough. And when they do, they're not often represented well enough.
That's why I was so happy with, that's one of my big points of always calling out A Quiet Place for being such a good movie, because they actually hired a deaf actress to portray.
Yeah. Hey, Scabby Rooster. We're getting ready to a party of 12.
Woo!
Hey, thank you so much, guys. I hope
That's
you guys
awesome.
Had a good show. Did you guys check out Scabby Rooster? They do some D&D stuff too. And we have friends in there, and they're great. Thanks so much for and if you guys can click on that link, that would make your views count because of the way Twitch changed things. But yeah, also we're talking about us. Well, we're wrapping up. We're done talking about us.
We're wrapping up.
I'm gonna turn off the spoiler. We're not talking
no
about
more
us.
spoilers.
No more spoilers.
No
We're
more
done with
spoilers.
this. But yeah, we do need more representation in terms of disabilities, I think.
Yes. And a broader range of disabilities, not just like one or two.
There's a lot, yeah. And we're making headway on the whole racial thing, and I think and other things that are kind of bigger, cover more groups. But I think disabilities, because there are so many different ones and specific ones, it's been a difficult crawl to get some of the representation. And I think disabilities is going to have a harder time because there are so many different kinds that I think it's going to take a while for get a lot better representation. But I do think that also
it needs to happen.
It needs to happen. I agree. Cool. Thank you so much for joining us for this thing. We're not done yet. I'm just saying thank you for hanging out with us and all 23 of you, or now the more because we have other guys. There's a couple of changes coming to our channel in the next couple of months. Some small changes, some big changes. We are moving Q1 to Mondays soon. Q1 is going down for a couple of weeks. They're going to retool some things. There's some stuff going on in the background that needs to be handled, so we're going to take care of those things, and it's just easier for us to... And there were some availability issues, so it's easier just to cancel for a couple of weeks, and we're going to retool the show a little bit. So look for that in the next 2 weeks. When it does come back, it is going to go back... It is going to come back to Mondays, so it's going to be now Monday nights. So now we'll let you guys know when that starts. Make sure you guys join our Discord at discord.rollforhotness.com so you guys can get some of those ideas and find out when that happens.
You're gonna be gone a bunch.
I'm gonna be gone a bunch.
I'm gonna have a different co-host for a little of April.
The news for Cinephilia. There's some changes happening here too a little bit. Temporary changes. I will not be here for a few Sundays from here to mid-May. I'm going on a bunch of trips and it just all showed up at once. So I'm going like 3 or 4 trips and they're all happening all at the same time. But so Danny's gonna be joining you. Danny's gonna be joining us here because since there's no Q1 on Sundays, Danny's gonna be hanging out here and doing some talks with Will. So it's gonna be fun. It'll be kind of
that'll be.
And we're gonna try to filter in some guests that we are gonna start adding guests. In general, we want to add more guests.
Yes.
Or have guests. But it'll happen during this because it's a good time for to start sucking some people in. So that'll be kind of Mitchie. I will find you. I know where you live. I have your address. And the other news is that this show is eventually also going to be moving to Mondays. So I apologize if that hurts your scheduling watching thing and you can't watch us. I apologize. But we're eventually going to move. Q1's moving first. And because of all the Sunday stuff is happening, because I'm going to be gone, we're not moving to Cinephilia right away. So that way Danny can do both shows. So and once coming like in late May, we're going to move the show to Mondays. And the reason we're moving the show to Mondays, it's going to give us a little bit more freedom to do things over the weekends, because we do the if you guys know Deadly Nightshade 666, who is on our chat all the time, and she's Connie. She's been on Perception Chat.
Great name.
She helps to run a Geek Meet here in Fullerton. So we want to be able to do those things on. They're usually Sunday nights, and we haven't been able to do those. And then there's some like Puppet Guild stuff that we've been wanting to do on Sundays. Sometimes they have what they call puppet slams, so we can actually perform with them. And then conventions are happening, and they happen on Sunday. So I think
Monday is just an easier day.
It's just an easier day for us to kind of do all that stuff, so we can do both. So we can still do shows and still go do some of the marketing and some of the stuff we need to grow to happen. So that's why that's happening. Yeah. And
also we love that you guys are here, and we always want you to come and watch us live and interact with us. But we're also working on getting an archive of all the old shows on YouTube.
Yeah,
so that they will be accessible to everyone, and hopefully that will bring in more people.
Yeah, because I thought, great, I'll just upload to YouTube, and then I started listening to them, and I was like, oh, I'm not always so good at like the level balance.
Oh, Will's mic is too low.
Too low, so I have to go through it and try to do some audio work on them so they sound better on YouTube. I have a couple episodes up there, so when I start this week, they'll be up. I promise. I've been promising. We have this conversation every week, and I always go, "Yeah, this week, Will, I'm gonna done."
This is why I'm saying it on live stream. So I'm like, yeah, you got to do it now because they're expecting it.
So that's gonna be done, so you guys can check these out. So the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna work my way backwards. So it'll be like last week, and the week we'll start doing this way, and then I'll move forwards too. So I'm gonna go. This is today. I'm gonna start moving this way and start uploading that way because I'm gonna try to upload like today's. I'm gonna try to upload it like tomorrow, the next day, so that I don't get backtracked trying to catch up.
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do. Reed Cooper says, get permission to stream the Puppet Slams. That's a really good idea. I'm gonna talk to the Puppet Guild, see if they'd be willing to do that. That might be
that'd be
fun.
awesome.
Yeah, and if we're on them, so I'm gonna try. We've been trying to like do more stuff with them, and we haven't. We have a lot of friends on there, and like it's just in LA. And we're just outside of LA, so it's always like a drive, but we got to do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's more things coming. We got to let you guys know. We have some plans for some new shows. We actually have a handful of ideas for shows. A few of them are kind of happen, but it's kind of a slow work towards that. And we're going to try. We're still pushing for partnership. We're going to start a new partner push in the near future. Again, it's just when I can't do it right now, but we're gonna do it. Everybody could says they say no, they say no. Yeah. But so we're gonna work on that. Anything else you want to say? Let's do recommendations.
Recommendations.
You have a recommendation. What is your recommendation for today?
I just watched, because it was recommended to me by some other film critics.
I talked a lot. I got thirsty.
I watched a movie on Netflix. It's available on Netflix streaming. So I'm actually recommending a movie that people can go watch. People can go see it. It's called Paddleton, and new this year. And it stars Mark Duplass and Ray Romano, which on the surface is kind of like
the Duplass brothers.
Yeah, I believe they wrote it as well, and produced it. But on the surface, you kind of think, oh, okay, this is gonna be whatever. It's got Ray Romano, but it's actually a really well done movie. It's these two guys, they're older men, they are neighbors, and they're like best friends, and at the very beginning of the movie, one of them finds out that they are dying from cancer. So it's just about, them going through this process together of what that means for their friendship and for each other. And that kind of plot could easily become like an emotional, like heart tugging thing, but they play it so realistic that it's like, okay, these are like just ordinary guys. It's not a soap opera. Like there are moments that might make you cry, but it's not like overly dramatic or anything like that. It just feels like a slice of life movie, and this is the slice of life that they're showing is this moment. So it's really well done. And Ray Romano, as a comedian, he's okay. Like his show was funny, but he's just kind of awesome in this. Yeah. Like I wasn't expecting him to be as good as he was. So,
I really enjoy the Duplass brothers because they're filmmakers. They've been filmmakers for a long time, but they haven't really made anything amazing or great or something that's hit it really big. But they have this really cool philosophy, and I think that I'm starting to realize that I think I took it from them. I always tell advice I give to people who say like, I want to make stuff, I want to do social media, I want to do videos for YouTube, I want to do anything. I always go do it. Just I always say make trash. It's okay to make trash. Because you make enough trash, eventually, like you're gonna get better. And because
it's a learning process. Like every time you do it, you learn something.
And they had a whole the advice is, I think I realized that I took it from this. They talk about like you have phones, you have cameras, you have things. You should, if you want to be a filmmaker, you should be making a film every weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, go with your friends and
just go do it
and make things that suck. Just just assume that they're gonna suck and just keep making them, because eventually you're gonna make one that doesn't suck.
Yeah,
and I think it's a really good advice for any artist, any kind of artistic, creative thing, is just do it even if it's awful.
And I believe that this, I I didn't know that about their philosophy, but that really lines up with this because this movie had like the basic premise and plot, but most of it is improv, I believe.
Okay.
So they just kind of like started the camera and the two of them, because it's mostly just the two of them. There's some other characters that come in, but mostly the two of them just acting off of each other, and it's just great. So that sounds like something that they would do, is just go out and let's just make a movie, and they just started making
they
this.
sort of become successful in their own little indie way where they just make a bunch of stuff, and they were on the Mindy show, the Mindy Killing show. So I like them. They're cool. I'm gonna check this out.
Yep, it's on Netflix streaming for
my recommendation for this month kind of. That was actually my recommendation for last week, but we forgot to.
You actually have to give like 5 recommendations because you're not going to be here.
No,
I'm just joking.
I'm here next week, I think.
Oh, you are here next week? Okay.
I think. My recommendation for this week is to watch. If you have not watched Clone Wars on Netflix, watch it now because I think it's leaving in like 3 weeks.
How many seasons is that they have to watch in 3 weeks?
6 seasons, so there's a lot to watch. Clone Wars is such a good show, and I feel like if you love Star Wars, you should watch it. If you hated the prequels, you should definitely watch it because it sort of kind of makes the prequels seem a little bit better, and they fix some things, which is kind of cool. If you don't have time to watch the entire 6 seasons, there are a bunch of guides on the internet. I was gonna pick one, but I couldn't pick on one because I didn't have time to compare them all. There's a few.
So you can pick one and post it in Discord.
Yep. I'll pick one and put it in Discord of like the episodes you should definitely watch because they're definitely because it's a cartoon and it had 24 episodes a season. There's definitely filler episodes.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of episodes you can skip, but there's a lot of good arcs. Ahsoka is such a good character in the show. She's, I think, now my favorite Star Wars character. Ahsoka Tano, who is Anakin's Padawan that he trains. And there's a whole arc, I think, like season 5. It's like the first 5 episodes, something like that. It's like 4 or 5 episodes where it's just about the clone troopers. And it's such a good like arc, and it's just this huge arc about them. They fix. I know this is why I yell at Danny all the time because he's like, I hate midichlorians. Midichlorians are so stupid. But if you watch Clone Wars, they fix midichlorians. They fixed the stupid idea of midichlorians. They in one episode they're like, we fixed them. Boom, moved on. So if you have not watched Clone Wars, watch Clone Wars or watch the episodes you need to watch. It's such a good show, and that's you learn about what happened to. What's his name?
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul. Thank you. You knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, because I did this.
Because I know. Yes, this is the international symbol for Darth Maul. No, I know how the show goes.
Yeah, and then watch Rebels after that.
Do you think that it is leaving Netflix to get ready for Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, or get the Disney Plus and you can watch it. But this is the one time you can watch it now.
Hey, watch it now. You don't need to get Disney Plus.
You're gonna get Disney Plus. Though.
I'm not getting Disney Plus.
You're gonna get Disney Plus.
No,
you're not gonna get it for the first month. You'll be like, oh, I guess.
You know what's gonna happen is you're gonna give me your password for Disney Plus.
Maybe. Oh, Amber hopefully Amber can get it for free because she works for Disney. We'll see. Spoilers. I'd give some spoilers. Yeah. Oops. And they're not that bad. You'll find out stuff.
Damn it, Art.
No, so you get to find out what happens. I don't tell you what happens.
Okay.
Reed Cooper says I'll get Disney Plus based on original programming. I have to get Disney Plus because of Star Wars shows.
I thought you were gonna say because of Muppets.
No,
because they're doing a new Muppet show too.
No, I want to work on them. I don't.
You don't need to watch it. You
want to work.
on
I'm just hoping that I'll get a job on it. That's it. It's warm now and we're tired.
Yeah, these lights are hot.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys, today. And we had a lot of fun. Again, I promise we're not gonna do super spoilery episodes that often, only when they feel like we need to.
Yeah, we'll just have that spoiler button up for,
because we do understand that it's hard to like want to be part of the show, but you can't because you don't have time to watch the movie. I get that.
Yeah,
but we're gonna save them for special movies.
So again, to reiterate, see us, enjoy us. You guys have probably already seen it since you're still here. Do not go see Dumbo. Just don't go.
Should I go?
You should not go.
I should just wait till it comes in. I want to watch it. I want to see the spectacle horribleness. This.
You don't need to pay for it. Well, I mean, you got AMC Plus, so if you want...
You want me to BitTorrent, is that what you're saying?
No, you can wait for it to stream somewhere. This is not anything you need to rush to get to see. Especially if you're going to get Disney Plus anyway, then you might as well just wait and watch it there.
Will said maybe go see Dumbo.
No, not maybe. Not maybe.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Cool. All right. We'll see you guys next time. I think I'm here next week. We'll find out. You'll find out when you start the show if I'm here next week. I'm pretty sure I'm still here next week. And we'll talk to you guys soon. All right.
That's not your sign off.
No, I was about to do it. Okay. Amber interrupted the show because she thought we were done. And
you guys don't know that Art hates to sign off. I love it, but
I don't hate the sign off. I just think it's awkward. Okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit before Amber interrupted us.
She do sign off.
So thank you so much for joining us, you guys, and we'll see you next time. And we'll
Cinephilia later.
See, it's really awkward.